Hello, welcome to Print Manager Plus. This will be a demonstration of the product and an overview of the capabilities of what the product can do. Print Manager Plus is actually composed of three different editions. There is a basic version of the product, a standard edition, and also a premium edition. These are broken down by features. On our website, you'll be able to find all of the features that are involved with each edition. There's a nice grid here on our website, starting with an overview and going into the auditing of the product, administration of the product, and as we move down here, control and savings, print job accounting, web printing, and then just flexibility. We're going to be demonstrating the entire product today and showing you all the features, and you can go to the website and take a look at which one fits your organization the best. So let's start with the product itself. It can be installed on any Windows operating system, acting as a print server, no matter the OS. So that would include Windows Workstation 7, 8, and 10. And that does include as well as Server, currently 2003, 2008, and 2012. And that does include cluster services. So once the product's installed on the machine, we open it up. The product is compatible no matter what type of network you have, whether you're using Active Directory or LDAP, or just a simple workgroup. We broke the product down by tabs. There's a users tab, which shows all the users that are printing. Groups tab for Active Directory groups, organizational units. And then we have billing. Billing is for client billing. If you're setting up clients and you want to bill back printing expenses back to clients or customers or to a project or matter code. Then here we list all of your printers that are being printed by Print Manager Plus. Here it's the actual Windows print queue, as there could be more queues than actual devices on the network. Under services, this currently shows that there's a single server and that we're tracking that server. If we had multiple servers, which you can have, the product is licensed by number of devices, you can actually have this installed on as many print servers or workstations and that are tracking. And from this screen, you can actually go and update the product on your multiple machines on the network. Okay, so let's go back over to users here. The product Print Manager has been around for a long time. It basically tracks or audits the print jobs that are going through your print spooler. We actually do open the job up after it is spooled through the manufacturer's driver. From there, we can track many different languages, printer languages, which equates to many different print manufacturers. And we pull out of there things like number of pages, number of copies, if the print job is duplex, meaning printed on the back and the front, and many more metrics, including all your network metrics. And we do this live. So we'll go over to printers here, and we'll just double click a printer. And here you can see our default cost profile, and you can change this. So you can use the default cost profile, a standard cost profile, or you can get into advanced cost options. Advanced cost options would be something for, say, large format printing, where we'll track cost per page, or charge by area, charge by length, or charge by page size. And obviously there's many different page sizes throughout the world, and we do track every type of page size. And of course it supports the metric system. So here we also have econo mode for printers that are using econo mode where they use less ink, and also a duplex discount as well, and you can discount how much this is costing. Under standard, it's pretty straightforward. You can charge per page. In this case, a black and white cost, very simple. Here you can charge by page size. Again, we can break this down by a black and white or a color cost as well. Okay, So the product's very large and it does a lot. So, this is a summary of the product, and there are other videos out there that will go more in depth into the different features of the product, and you'll see that on our YouTube site here. So first we're going to start off with some basic pieces of the product, and we talk about auditing users. When you install this product and as users start to print, they'll actually be added to the users tab over here. So we'll double click on the user. And in here you can see if they have a balance. Some organizations like corporate or government, they just want to track or audit the data. Other organizations like educational, nonprofit, they actually do want to set a balance on the user and let them print a certain amount of paper and use a certain amount of toner. Here you can go in here and actually give your user a balance. Here we'll give this user $10. We'll set the balance. And here you can see there's a primary balance. You can also add a paid balance. Or you can actually add a pages only balance. So if you didn't want to track or give a balance by a currency amount, you could actually just say the number of pages that they're allowed to have. In this case, we'll just turn that off and we'll leave on a primary balance here, and then we'll set this. And you'll notice up here that user now has a $10 balance, and he'll be deducted the cost from the actual printer cost profile that is assigned to the printer he's printing to. So that's your user. Now, that balance can be added also to a group of users or to even an organizational unit, which may have groups, and obviously users will be in there as well. When someone prints for the first time, we will determine what group they're in and what organizational unit they're in. And in this case, you can select an organizational unit. Again, you can set a quota or a balance on the entire organization, every user in there. When they print for the first time, they'll be assigned that balance. And then from there on out, it'll actually deduct. These balances, obviously run out. They don't stay the same. And when a student or user runs out of a balance, you can send notifications using our print client pop-up utility, or you can also send it via email. In this case, it gives you many different options. You can send a pop-up, send an email when they actually run out of a balance. You can also hear, what do you want to do with the job when it actually does run out? Do you want to delete the job from the print queue? You can also pause the job, allow the job, hold the job, or confirm the job. And we can go over these in depth on different videos. You can also do a low balance. So as their balance goes down, when they get below a certain amount, in this case we'll say $5, you can send a pop-up or an email here as well. Part of this is just allowing the user to go negative. And in this case, we could just allow him to run out of the $10, but then go into a negative balance as well. Okay, so that's balances. And again, this can be set on a single user, a group, or an organizational unit. Now, when you do set balances by organizational unit group, you could set as many as you want. So you could have multiple organizations with balances or multiple groups with balances. Another thing you can do here is also update schedule on your quotas. And you can increase the balance by, reset the balance by, and then have it recurring or just a one-time, daily, weekly, monthly. And you can set as many of these as you need to. Now, as with balances, we have rules and restrictions. And these can be set, again, on a single user, on a group, or an organizational unit, or actually on a printer. So let's take a look at these. We have many different restrictions that can be set. You can set as many as you would like. And you can also set rules, which we'll get into in just a second here. So restrictions, for instance, title. So you can set a title restriction. Here you can whitelist or blacklist the actual title of the document. And then again, your default job action. What do you want to do when that restriction is met? Do you want to delete it? pause it, allow it, hold it, or confirm it. And then you can send a pop-up or an actual email. We have reprinting. This is great for duplicate printing. So we have a lot of instances where users will double click on a printer icon, and you can say, well, that second job, if it is printed within the first 2 seconds, what do you want to do with the job? Again, delete it, pause it, etc. All right, we'll go to the next one, page size. Here again, you have a whitelist and blacklist of what page sizes these users can print. So here you can select them, and you can allow or deny those. Page count. In Print Manager, we consider a page to be either the back or the front of the piece of paper, or sheet of paper. And here you can say the maximum allowed pages in a single print job. What are they allowed to be? Here we have job size. Job size is literally, the memory unit of the job in bytes, kilobytes, or megabytes, and you can deny printing based on how big the job is. Job cost. Here you can say, well, the job cost, even though they may have a primary balance, but they may not. But here you can say, well, I don't want jobs that are more than $5. And this allows you to deny the job over a certain cost based on the printer profile. Duplex. Here you can force duplex or simplex, and how much the person, or if they need to be forced, and again, sending them a pop-up message that they should be printing duplex only or simplex. Daytime, which is a pretty interesting restriction. And here you can basically edit allowed times when somebody can print. And again, remember, you can set this on a user, multiple groups, multiple OUs, or the printer itself. And in here you can say, well, what are the allowed days for printing and what time of the day are they allowed to print? Next one is copies. How many copies are allowed in a job? Here, really you see copies in Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office type projects, and you can say, well, I want users, they're allowed to print up to 2 copies, of a single file at one time. Or you could do 0. And color. This allows you, do you want them to be able to print color to the color printer? Or do they have to print in black and white? Again, here is black and white. Do you want them allow them to print black and white? Maybe you don't want them printing black and white to the color printer, and you send a message and you tell them, well, you should actually go and print that at the black and white printer only. So here are all of your restrictions that you can set, and they're very comprehensive and will save a lot of resources on your network once you have an idea of the auditing and what you actually spend per month, and you want to cut that back. All right, let's go to rules. Again, the rules are all of your restrictions, but now you can mismatch them up, and you can add more than one restriction at one time. And you can set this to all. Rule will be applied when all criteria is met. Any rule will be applied when any criteria is met. And none. Rule will be applied only when no criteria is met. So you can actually create multiple restrictions in a rule. We'll click Next here. You can add the name of the rule. Again, what do you want to do when that rule is met? Send the end user a pop-up, send the end user an email. What's nice about all these notifications, you can actually insert job metrics straight into that pop-up message or that email. And here, you could write your message, and then again, you could add in these metrics of the print job itself into your email or pop-up, which is kind of nice. Other things for administrators, you can send yourself a spool file. You can say, well, I set this rule. I want the job to be allowed to print, but also email me or multiple people that this rule was actually met. And by the way, save a copy of the spool file. And it'll actually save a copy of the spool file for you. And this could be for security reasons or any other reason. Okay, so let's jump out of rules here. And we'll go back one here. We've gone over the product and for quotas and restrictions. And now we're going to go to billing. Billing is a tab up here. This is specific for companies that want to bill back printing for their client accounts, matter code, projects. So let's take a look at this. We can basically add clients, And we'll go in here and add a new client now. And we'll make this client D. So we add client D. And under client D, you can add sub-projects, as we call them. When we go up here and add a sub-project, and here we can call it matter Fred. Is it billable, non-billable? Do we want to prompt the user per job? Do you want a markup cost? You can also add a PIN code. Username as a PIN code. Or use a custom PIN code. All right, so let's create this, and you'll notice it'll go under client D here as we just added it. But let's go into client D again. Under client D, you can add a description, and you can add a billing address as a customer. And then you can make it billable, non-billable, prompt user per job. And you can also protect it with a password if need be. And again, you can add PIN codes as well. All right, so now that you would have that set up, let's go over to printers, and we'll select a printer here. And let's turn on those confirmations. So we'll go down here to client billing. And we can say, well, I want client and project selection. When the pop-up occurs, you can say what you want it to say in here. You can allow for comments on the print job, which will go into your reporting. You can allow for batch printing, which allows the user to select a client that he would like to pop up every time. So he doesn't have to keep selecting that pop-up. It'll just print through for a certain amount of time. Allow client and project creation by all users. So they could, if they wanted to, create the client on the fly from the pop-up. And then what do you want to do? Here we have a timer. So we get the pop-up on the workstation. What do you want to do with that job? Delete it, leave it, allow it, or hold it for web release? Or if they don't have the print client running, what would you like to do with the job if they print from a specific machine without the print client running on their workstation? Once this is set, we're ready and we can actually now print to it. So we're going to just turn these on, all of them, so you can kind of see the pop-up that will occur when we print to this. Okay, so let's go over here. And you'll notice everyone has a $10 quota because we did set that under the Students OU. And you'll notice all of these users are under the Students OU now. And let's go up to the administrator. That's what we're logged into now. And we're just going to print a simple text document here. And if they were sitting at their workstation or their Mac, and this is what they would see. So we're going to go ahead and print. And we'll select that printer. Remember, you can do this by printer. And that was a PCL6. And here you get your pop-up. And this basically shows you what they would see on their workstation. You can have this open up as well. And the print client is a very small application. It's a dumb application. It just waits for the server to give it information and then waits for the user to select what he's going to select so it can bill back. In this case, we have obviously 4 clients. If we select client D, you'll notice the sub-projects will pop up. We only had 1 in there. So they have a favorites tab, so they can add this to a favorite at some point. Here they can add a client if they'd like to create top level, or they can create a sub-project. They can add in their comments here, and they can make this billable, non-billable, which we did not turn on for them. Apply selection to future jobs. So this is the batch printing. You can say for the next 10 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hours, or until I log off or shut down. So in this case, we're not going to print the job. We'll just cancel it if they click cancel, or if this timer runs out, it automatically deletes out of the Windows print queue. If I submit it, it then charges obviously client D, and the matter would be Fred. In this case, let's just print it, and we'll show it to you in reports in a bit here. Okay, so that's now been printed. So let's go ahead and run reports. Now, when we click on reports here, and this report's going to be gone into, it's called the web portal. And under the web portal, we have different web-based features specifically set up for you as an administrator, as a manager, or just as an individual user. In this case, we'll log in as administrator. and it takes us right to reports. Now, when you come into the web portal, you have a lot of different options in here, and these can be set up as administrator. You can set these up through settings here, and under settings, we can essentially say, okay, these are the different managing pieces, or giving the user what rights do they have. If you want certain things turned off so they can't see them, and also allowing them to land on a specific page and what they see when they log in. This also, what's nice about this, there's a forms only login, mixed forms of Windows authentication, or single sign-on Windows authentication only when they do log in. And then again, this is authenticating against Active Directory LDAP, and also just a local username and password that you can create through Print Manager. If we look at the web print settings, which is a large piece of this web portal, and this is in the premium edition, this allows you to allow users to print through mobile devices such as an iPad, a Windows driver that we've created, or through any kind of internet browser or Chromebook. And this allows them to print directly into your print server via essentially your own print cloud. These are the settings that you can set up, and these connect straight into Windows. Maximum file size they can upload, maximum file storage per user, maximum total file storage, and delete uploaded files after a certain amount of minutes, days, or hours. And these are the types of files, which ones you want them allowed to upload. And it pretty much covers the gamut of types of files users print. Because we do online printing, you can also set up a payment system. And again, not everybody is going to use this, but when you get into a lab situation, libraries or public printing, they do want to use it. And here you can turn on PayPal, two different versions of PayPal, Authorize.net and CyberSource, which again covers most of credit card authorization out there. And again, it comes with a full built-in shopping cart. Users can print, and they can be billed by, and we'll take a look here, they can actually allow users to buy additional balance, or you can allow users to pay for printing on the fly. As they actually print, they'll get emailed a receipt. Again, we have a full built-in payment system, which includes a shopping cart. Okay, so we're going to jump out of here, and we're going to go over to the dashboard to the left. I'm going to leave this page. And in here, this gives you a summary or a dashboard of your printing for the day, for the week, and for the month. If we go to print, this is your web printing. You can actually select a document, click next. We'll select a printer that we're going to print to. And it gives you different options. You can choose how many copies. You can choose how many pages per sheet. Is it one side, both sides? Is it color mode, grayscale? Select paper tray. You also have preview tabs here as well. We'll click next. And here your job is ready to be printed. Because we have client billing turned on this printer, you can do full client billing as well through this. We'll select client D. And here you'll notice that the sub product came up as well. Again, you can add your comments over here, and then we can click and print the actual job. Let's go over to balances. Here you can change balances on the fly. This is great for a manager if they want to look up a user. So we can do a drop down, or you can type in the user's first name. We'll select one of these users. They'll have a primary balance of 10. If they run out of that, you could turn on their paid balance. They could pay by credit card, or you could just give them a cash balance up front. So you have $10, set the balance. And then, of course, this can be done through the administrator, but this is great for just having someone there or a cashier that could actually add or subtract balances. This is what we call the release station. Again, great for labs, libraries, or any kind of public printing. This allows you to pause all printing as it goes into a print queue. It will show up in this area here. And if you're a manager, you can see everybody's printing. As users print, they walk up to the cashier. The cashier can see the job here. So he knows the user who printed it, the job name, the printer, and the cost of the job, because this again is based off that printer profile cost. He can release the job, or he can just delete it straight out of the print queue as well after collecting funds. This can also be done just automatically if you have your pay for printing turned on and you have a credit card system. The student or the user or patron could do it themselves, add it to a shopping cart, pay for it, release the print job. Okay, so there's again, like I said, there's a lot to the product, and this is a summary, and there are other videos going over each of these features. Okay, we have the two big areas here, which is your data. One of these is called the History tab, which is kind of an interactive tab taking you straight into our database and allowing you to look at all of the printing that is actually occurring on the server straight out of the database. And you can sort this. You can make this bigger and smaller. It's kind of a ad hoc reporting system. We can add the organizational unit, the department, how many mono pages, color pages, how many copies, and it kind of creates this larger data set for you here. You can also filter your reports and all of your data in history here, and you can break it down by groups, organizational units, departments, users, domains, printers, etc., etc. And this is great for just kind of delving through the data and just getting one chunk of it that you may need. Here you have, what dates you're going to be obviously selecting for your reporting. Over here, you have a scheduler. So you can schedule the data to be emailed and also save to a share somewhere on your network as a PDF. In this case, this is history, so we do a CSV or Excel spreadsheet. When you get to reporting, you'll notice that changes to a PDF or a CSV file. So that's the History tab. What's nice about this is, let's say at some point on the payment system, you need to retract someone's printing because the printer ran out of paper, it got lost in memory, you need to give them back the money on their account. You can actually click this retract button here, and it credits the money back into their account. Or in the case of client billing, you can change a billing. If someone selected the wrong billing, here you can go in and change the actual billing and then tell it where you actually wanted it to be sent. So we'll just say that last job was supposed to be on client B. We select it and it bills it to client B now. All right, let's go over to reports. And reports are web-based. Some can be obviously very large. We have detailed and summary reports. And again, we run into the same situation. We're going to open this up here. Okay, now in this case, I'm going to just show you this is kind of a local manual way of running reports. And you can change that under settings here. We click settings, and you can say manually load reports. If your reports are very, very large, and we have many customers that could get into the hundreds of pages for the reporting, this is a good way to be able to just select the report, not have it render the report to HTML onto your screen. If you wouldn't want to sit there and wait for a 1,000-page report. So in this case, I say it's manual. We go back to reports, and we'll run a simple user summary report. There are over 150 reports you can run. Here you would select your timeline. So in this case, we'll just select year to date. We'll select apply. You can select if it's color, only black and white, or all. You can set a filter here, set a report title. And then again, you could schedule it here as well. If you want to just run, you can select the date you wanted it to run. Do you want to run it once, daily, weekly, monthly? And you can do that right up to 5-minute intervals. And again, you can export here by PDF, CSV, or Excel. And here we're not going to set the schedule. There are many other features on this reporting system. So let's just run this report by clicking refresh here. And we ran the report. Obviously, there's not much printing. There's only one user. On the site here, you have a sitemap. If you had hundreds, thousands of users, they'd be on the sitemap here. You can print the reports. You can go through the reports, save the report. And here you can actually export even more. PDF, XLS, RTF, HTML, text, CSV, etc. So you can actually export this report many different ways. If you double click, we have full drill down. Again, you're getting into the nitty gritty of every print job, and you can expand details on every print job as well. In this case, we'll expand out, and that basically just opens up each job down here. It shows you the details about each print job, and just giving more details of each one that's actually occurring on. All right, so let's go back out of this report. And we have many reports: user reports, group reports, department reports, organizational unit, billing reports. And these are ways for you to, if you wanted to bill back customers, you could actually set up schedules. You could email the customer directly every month, or you could export the report as an Excel spreadsheet, put it into your accounting system as needed. You can report by what workstations were printed from, servers were printed from, printers. So this goes over detailed printer summaries, detailed printer history. And then down here as well, we also add large format printing. So you could get very detailed into your large format printing, how many inches, how many millimeters or feet or yards of printing you're actually doing on those large format printers. We have printer group reports. You can create groups of printers within Print Manager Plus and then run reports on those groups. And you could break down those groups by department or organizational unit. Bandwidth reports, as you can see here, this shows you how much memory usage you're doing over the network and printing. Graphs, there's many different graphs: most active users, printers, groups, OUs, printing by time graphs, and comparison charts, to color prints, paper sizes, copy prints. Then you get into savings reports, and these savings reports are very important. Any organization that's setting those restrictions or setting balances or setting rules, if you're deleting those print jobs, this will tell you exactly how much money you're actually saving in printing. And this is a big deal here. This we've seen anywhere from 30 to 50% in savings, over quarter to quarter for printing. And so when you start to add those restrictions in, or even just set balances on your users, this is where you really start to see the savings. It's very straightforward and easy to see. You have different administrative reports. Here we get into current user credits, user balance history, as people add credits or debits through payment systems, or even cashiers. This shows you where the money is coming from and where it's going. Group reports, budgets, last usage, etc. Now, we added this environmental reports. This is also a very nice report. This actually will tell you how much paper you've been using, how much CO2 you've been pumping into the environment, how much electricity you're using. And the data that is gotten here is directly from the Environmental Protection Agency, MIT, etc. So if you look down here, it actually tells you where we're getting this data from, which is important for you. But it also, the real point of it is how much electricity, how much CO2, how many trees are actually being used via your printing. And these cover the gamut. So, it's everything from paper, the power the printer is using, et cetera, et cetera. Great report to run. At the very end here, you have My Printing. My Printing is interesting. If you log in as a regular user, a user would actually see his printing, and he could actually run reports on these 5 reports down here, just for himself. So he won't get all the admin reports. He'll only see just his printing. He'll see his dashboard. He can only manipulate his print jobs. Or again, you can take that away and not allow them to view everything about the product as well. You do have manager rights. We call them administrative rights. And you can select any user, and you can actually add them an administrative rights in here. So they could be a basic user, they have no rights. They could be a manager, and under manager, you can edit. Are they allowed to edit settings and configuration, change print job history, run and schedule reports, etc. And then you can restrict that by servers down to the print queue, and you can filter it by domain, OU, or group as well. So that will only allow them to see what they're in charge of. So a very nice piece here that can be used nice and simply. All right, so that's an overview of the product. There are many other videos that you can take a look at, and they'll get more in detail on the different pieces of the product and how they work. So, give us a call if you have any questions, and we can give you a personal WebEx, or go ahead and watch the other videos. Thank you very much for your time.